Martin, welcome to the SAL podcast. Great to have you on.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't know, Martin is well known within the SAL, sits on the League Management Committee in a number of roles, such as assistant or vice chair, should I say, assistant treasurer, sponsorship officer, and one of your other roles, Martin, is chairman of the Cup Committee. Talk to us about your role within the Cup Committee and its scope.
Okay, so Cup Committee is probably one of the smallest committees that we run. I'd like to think that's because the people that are on there are very good, very active, and we don't need a massive bunch of people on there. I'm the chairman. This is my fifth season that I've taken over the chairmanship of the Cup Committee from Mike Redhouse, who through illness and the advance of technology was struggling with the role. And as mentioned, I'm supported by 4 other committee members. First one to mention is Bob Leeds, and all of these names are names that are going to be well known to people that are familiar with the SAL. First one is Bob Leeds. Bob deals with the trophies and the medals for the Cup Finals. So first thing he needs to do each season before the Cup Finals is collect the trophies back from the previous year's winners, get them engraved, order the new medals for the winners and the runners-up and for the officials, and no mean feat to deliver them to the SAL reps for the presentation on the day of the Cup Finals. Second person involved is the finance man, it's Jonathan Leese. Jonathan deals with the payments to the host clubs for the work that they do on the day for supplying the aftermatch hospitality. Pays the officials. Now that we've moved away from cash, certainly for this season, and it seems to be working well, that's something that we'd like to think that we can do in the future. And also gives a little pot of money to the SAL representatives who are there on the day to present the trophies and to provide a bit of off-the-match hospitality to the officials and to the winners and runners-up when they're around. Third man on the committee, Steve Martin Lawrence, is the SAL and, without any shadow of a doubt, an FA guru for all matters on whole game system and full-time. Any issues...
Talk to Steve.
Yeah, unregistered players or anything we need to know about the two systems. Steve is the go-to guy for us, possibly for the AFA, and also he's a main point of contact for the FA. So a great guy to have on board. Last but by no means least, and probably the guy who does the most work on the committee, is Eric Owen, who, to sum it up in a few words, attends to all of the fixtures for the cups through the rounds. Massive job that he does for the league, for the league fixtures, but also for fitting in our cup fixtures in and around the AFA, the SAL, the Essex and Middlesex AFA, the Surrey Kent AFA, whatever other cups any of our clubs enter into. Eric's is amenable to working out with these guys, so all of their fixtures are sorted out without impinging on any time on these guys. They can play when they want. The main role of the committee is to provide Challenge Cup competitions for all of the sides who enter. It's an invitation cup, all of the 7 Challenge Cups that we have. The invitation goes out to all clubs and all teams within those clubs. Unbelievably, not all clubs and not all teams enter into our cups each season.
Yeah.
They seem to prefer going into subsidiary cups, maybe other county cups. To be in a league and not support your cups, I find a little bit bizarre. But this is the want of the guys. We keep on at these people every year to try and get them entering into our cups. We're making inroads, and hopefully in time it will be fully supported by all of our clubs and our teams within those clubs.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, if we can do that, you want support from everyone within the league.
Absolutely.
within the last 5 years I've been involved in running the cups, we've followed the same sort of methodology every year for sorting out the cups. We wait until the league constitution is confirmed by Eric in late August, maybe sometimes in late September. And the cups tend to follow, because we haven't had too many changes in the structure of the constitution, we tend to follow the same sort of regime every year in which the teams are filtered through. So the Senior Cup is made up of the teams that are competing in senior divisions 1, 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. Whether people know this or not, it's not something that we publicise, but if you look at it year on year, you can work it out. The first 2 rounds are seeded in the Senior Cup, where we play. The first round is primarily Senior 3 teams. The next round, the Senior 2 teams come in, and then the third round, the Senior 1 teams come in. We feel this is the best way that we can give people time and competition games. If we were to just do a straight draw of Senior 1s, 2s and 3s, not only would it be a mismatch, it's not fair on the guys that effectively have paid entrance fees to get into the Cups and to be walloped 10-0 in the first game and take an exit. So it gives the, I don't know, without being demeaning, the lower sides, it gives them an opportunity of getting through maybe 1 or 2 rounds before they come up against the big boys. We see it in the FA Cup. These guys have a big day out when they get through to meet the bigger sides, and sometimes come out as victors against the big so-called bigger teams. So that's the Senior Cup. The Intermediate Cup follows the same sort of process. It's drawn from the teams that are in Intermediate 1, 2 and 3. And again, we start off with the Intermediate 3 as the first round, Intermediate 2 coming in, and then Intermediate 1 as the rounds progress. The next cup is the Junior Cup, which is Intermediate 4, Junior 1, North and South. And at this level, we decided that the differences between Intermediate and Junior 1 wasn't massive, and also going down through the remainder of the Junior 2s, North and South 3, 4 and 5, the difference between the teams is not very big, so there's no seeding. All of the clubs go straight into the draw at this round. The only cup that we normally do 7 cups. This year we've only managed to do 6 because for this season we've had Junior 5 North, through a lack of teams, has been disbanded. Hopefully we can resurrect that next year, and then we can reintroduce the Junior Novice Cup. For the Junior Cup and the minor, Senior Novice and Intermediates, for the earlier rounds, we decided this year, because of the COVID issue that we had, that we wouldn't want all of the clubs having to travel across London. Yeah. So we regionalised the first 2 rounds of these cups, just to keep people playing in local games. One other thing that we also did this year when we were doing the draws, having seen the issue at the back end of last year, trying to force all the cups through at the back end of the season and not knowing how the 2021 season was going to progress, we front-loaded all of the cup draws so that we played in September. In every 6 cup competitions, we played at least 2 rounds. Yeah. So if we did hit the issues that we did see in October, November, and then again in December when we went into lockdown, we had made inroads into the cups, which in hindsight proved to be a very, very wise choice, that we couldn't complete the league season, and having made a big dent in the cups, it enabled us to get through to the final stages of the cups. We only had 3 or 4 rounds at the very most in all cups that we needed to play in. So, yeah, for the behalf of the committee, that was a very well chosen decision. It was met with questions by a number of people, which has proven to be correct. In addition to arranging the cup competitions, other things that we look after for the cup committee, which I'm pleased to say are few and far between, or any abandoned games, any disputes. As a league, we're pretty good on that. I sit on the LMC, and we maybe have 3 or 4 of those throughout the course of a whole season, which, considering we're doing, 90 games a week. We're
About
turning out
80 odd games a week.
Yeah, for 25 weeks, that's the best part of 4,000 games.
It's a lot of games.
It's to only have 2 or 3 instances where you sit down and have to deliberate. That's a real clap for the SAL, for the football, and I'm sure there's not many other leagues that can say that's where their disciplinary issues lie.
Definitely.
Okay. Another thing that we've had to deal with this year, when we restarted, we weren't sure what was happening on the restart, when it was going to come about, what the situation was going to be. We have lots of clubs that have different standards. Some own their own clubs. Some are rented from local councils. We weren't sure what was going to happen. And certainly in the case of the bank teams that are still playing, they couldn't even get into their own grounds, and we had appeals that the games that had been fixed needed to be changed. So as a cup committee, I think there were 2 or 3 of these that we had to sit on and make a decision on. Being a small committee, we could get together quickly within a day or so. Thankfully, through the advent of Zoom, we were there on that, and we made our decision. Not always to the liking of some of the teams, but I think that's a part and parcel of life, that committee decisions aren't always favoured by everybody.
No.
But at least we sat and we did it. The last thing that we do as a cup committee, which is primarily on my shoulders, is in a normal season in January or February, I will write to all of our member clubs, which is pretty close to 40. Mm-hmm. Tell them that we've got cup finals coming up in the months of March, April, May. Would any of them be willing to host a cup final? This is a bit of a long, drawn-out process every year, and I know where I'm going, having done it for 5 years now, that I'll write to say 40 clubs. I'll get 7 or 8 responses, 1 or 2 of which will be, sorry, we'd like to help, but we can't because of this or that reason. 32 clubs don't even bother to reply, and I get the same 7 or 8 every year who are saying, yes, of course, we'll help you. We can host cup finals. So just a shout out, in the 5 years that I've been doing the cup committee, a shout out to those guys that have been big supporters. And these guys do save us a lot of money, because if we don't host the games in an SAL club, we need to go outside and hire. And we're not going to get any less for £350, £400. And these guys are doing it for the benefit of the SAL. So again, thank you to these clubs: Actonians Association, Bank of England, Carshalton, Civil Service, East Barnet Algramarians, HSBC, Norsemen, Old Finchlians, Old Parkonians, Old Wilsonians, Polytechnic, and last but by certainly no means least, Richmond and Kew. If any of you guys out there are listening and are from different clubs, please go back to your committee and ask why you don't host any of these cup finals. We need as many people coming forward as possible to host a cup final every season. Okay, so that's my response for my role and the role of the cup committee in the SAL.
Cool. Thanks for that. In general, obviously, you say we normally have 7 cups.
Yep.
Across the season, ranging from the seniors all the way down to the vets. How just looking at one cup alone, just say for instance a senior cup, how challenging is it to organise the cups, get the responses from the clubs, organise the seed-ins, the cup draws, the cup dates, and getting the games played throughout the year? Taking away COVID, because we know obviously the last couple of years has been a massive headache for all of us. But how generally challenging is it? Obviously, we know about the trophies that have to be delivered and stuff like that. But is there any other challenges that the league faces, or the cup committee, or even the clubs face that a lot of people might not be aware of?
For me now, having done this for 5 years, I would say no. This is not a challenging job whatsoever. If it was the first year coming in or second year coming in, getting acquainted with the nuances of the job and what needs to be done when it needs to be done, then yes, it is a fairly challenging job. But ordinarily, I would say that it's a pretty painless job. As a cup committee, we meet in August. We look at the league constitution. We see the how many leagues we have. Again, as I said earlier, in the last 5 years that I've been doing it, we've in junior 4, 5, 6 are the only changes that we've seen.
Yeah.
So that means senior down to intermediate novice hasn't really changed.
So it makes it a lot easier than at the start of the year when you're building.
Yeah, and we meet in August, as I say. We look at the constitution. We sort out which leagues will feed into which cups. If teams move from the division because of one reason or another, and we see this happening through August, through September, it's that part of it is no big change. Eric has got a plan. He's been doing the fixtures for, I don't know, 10 years, best part of 10
11 years. I think he's going on that, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got his plan, and once we've done, we sit down on an evening and we do all of the draws for all of the 7 cups or the 6 cups for the last season in one fell swoop. We give those over to Eric and just sit, and basically I sit back for the months of September through to February, and I start preparing for the cup finals. It's an easy job. The work is then left with Eric, who makes it look so easy. From an administrator's point of view on the cups, big kudos to Eric. We can all sit there, and the other 3 guys don't, or the other 4 guys on the committee don't have to do anything at all. So this year, as I said earlier on, we had the foresight to front load the cup draws into September. Managed to do 2 or 3 in most of the cups. When we came back in March, we weren't sure we were coming back. We weren't sure if we were going to have enough weeks to fulfil all of the fixtures. We had to hunt around clubs that still had their pitches up in May that could host the finals. But again, thankfully, because we made that decision in August that we were going to play the cup games earlier this year, in case there were any issues, it's seen us through to fruition that we can see some cup finals. Otherwise, sadly, the SAL wouldn't have had anything to present to any of the participating clubs and teams through the course of a second season.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that. So obviously we're now sort of full throttle all the way through to the 22nd of May when Richmond and Kew host the senior final. 2 clubs involved with Winchmore Hill and Old Car Fusions. Winchmore Hill, long-serving SAL club, currently Senior 1 team, and they're having a good couple of years. And then we've also got Old Car Fusions, who are not actually an SAL club. They're obviously from the Arthurian, one of our non-member clubs that enter the Senior Cup. What's your thoughts on the final, the teams going into it, and do you want to give out any predictions for the day?
Yeah, tough one to call. I don't know. The riddle with cliches. It's a one-off match. Anyone can win. Carthusians for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years now, been a top side. A tough run through in the cup. Bank of England away, who are in Senior 2, were looking to be one of the 2 or 3 teams vying for promotion back into Senior 1 this year. They beat them. Next, they had Allain Old Boys at home.
Yeah.
Last 4 years, 3 or 4 years, Allain's have been pushing for the Senior 1 title. They were dispatched. And then last week, Old Carthusians, I believe, turned up with weakened team to play at West Wickham, who have been the strongest team for the last couple of years by, I was going to say a country mile, maybe not a country mile, but by a long way. And they dispatched them in extra time. And it's hard to say Carthusians are going to be beaten. But from the other side, and here I turn out all the pundit cliches, Winchmore Hill would appear on paper to have had an easier run. We're in this situation 2 or 3 years ago, in 2018, 3 years ago, when they played Polytechnic, who were sweeping everything before them. We're going to win the final, according to people on the sideline, by 3 or 4 clear goals that day. And I think they ran out 2-1 winners, and probably with the keeper having a decent game, but just through sheer determination, Winchmore Hill deserved to win the cup on that day. So, sorry, Daryl, from me, no predictions. And the old punditry line, I just hope that it's a good game on the day and everyone can enjoy themselves. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure we will see some goals. Whether it's going to be a hatful or not, I'm not certain about. But it'd be good to just see a good, entertaining final, and, for want of a better phrase, may the best team win.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it is a hard one to call. I've watched Carthusians play now twice this year. Refereed them once, watched them once. Winchmore Hill, I haven't been able to watch for probably a couple of years, 3 years maybe. So I'm not really sure of what their team setup's like. But as you say, Winchmore have won it before. They've gone on and beat Actonians in the last round, who are the current holders.
Correct.
And they're solid, consistent in Senior 1. And then you look at Carthusians, they beat Bank of England, who were in the final last year. And then they go on and beat Alliance and West Wickham, who are the top two
teams in Senior 1.
In Senior Division 1. So it's
on paper, they're going to walk it.
It could go any way. It really could, which makes it such an interesting final. I'm sure it can.
I think it'll depend. I'd like to see Winchmore get the first goal and make it a more open game. I think if Carthusians score first, it may be the end of the game for Winchmore. But who knows? Who knows?
Time will tell.
If I knew that, I'd be down William Hill putting a tenner on it.
Yeah, I think the bookies would be asking questions if we did. Martin, it's been great having you on, mate.
Thank you for asking me, Daryl.
You're very welcome, and hopefully we'll get you on another podcast in the near future, maybe next season.
Yeah, no problems at all, mate.
Speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.